Wait, what's up, guys? Welcome to Box Football, and we're back here. And recently, Bayern Munich won their sixth trophy, and they became the second team in history to win six trophies in a season. And it was a cool video from Pep Guardiola, him congratulating the Bayern team, but also saying that he's going to bring back his boys Messi and the rest of the 2009 Barcelona team to go against the Bayern team to see who is overall the superior best team. But unfortunately, Elon Musk does not have his time machine, so we can't go back in time and find out who is the best team. But the last thing that we can do is to get a combined 11 across. And so basically what we're going to do today, we're going to combine Barcelona's 2009 team against Bayern Munich's 2020 team. Now we're going to base this whole thing on what they did that season, because unfortunately a lot of Bayern players haven't finished their career yet, while a lot of Barcelona players have, and we don't want to get that biased of of what them players have already done. So we're going to base on what they did that season. So if your favorites don't get into it, it's because they didn't perform as well as like the other guy did that season. So let's start in the goalkeeping position. And who do we got here? Victor Valdez against Emmanuel Neuer. Jack, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Potentially not going to be fully agreed with here, but I do have the stats up with me. So Barcelona play in a 20 team league, right? So they got to play those full 38 games, whereas Bayern Munich play in an 18 league team, so they play 34 games. So Manuel Neuer, Bayern Munich obviously champions, goals against 32 in 34 games. So you'd say that's pretty good going. Barcelona, I would say, in a more competitive league with better attacking talent that he has to face and go against, he has to also play more games, still only conceded 35 goals. I understand that may not go down as the most popular opinion ever, but just for me, I would go for Victor Valdez in this one. I don't think Manuel Neuer in 2020 was anything on the Manuel Neuer of the kind of mid-teens, that 2014 to 2016 era of Manuel Neuer. So it might just be me, but I would go Victor Valdez here.
Anyone else want to add?
Like I think we said, he had a good season. But the one drawback that can be identified is that Barcelona, whether they have Valdez in goal or whether they have Pinto in goal, really, for a lot of the games, the statistics don't change too much because of the style of play. So they don't give too many chances away. And often what stands out Manuel Neuer is that Bayern's maybe style of play and teams getting behind, he made so many crucial and big saves in big games that Valdez didn't really do enough, not just in this season, but his time at Barcelona, but in just this season itself. Neuer made so many crucial saves for Bayern in massive games at key moments too. And I don't think Valdez really competes on that level.
Jed?
Yeah, so what Timmy said, I think maybe one of the ways that we should judge keepers going forward is not the amount of goals conceded. Well, that counts, but maybe also the shots faced per game and how much they concede in comparison to the shots they face per game. As we said, I think Neuer made a lot of big saves that kept Bayern Munich in their games. I think in the Champions League last year, the semi-finals and the finals, he made some show-stopping saves that, to me, changed the trajectory of the game. Whereas Valdez, maybe, I believe, the defense in front of him, and as the goalkeeper is a defender as well, but I believe the defense in front of him and the style of play that with the team that he was involved with helped him a lot. And I do believe if Pinto was playing every game that Valdez was playing, the stats wouldn't vary any differently to what Valdez was achieved that season as well.
The one thing I have is that you have Valdez. It wasn't the best goalkeeper in 2009. He wasn't the best goalkeeper in Spain. That was Iker Casillas in like that season. Edwin van der Sar had a much better season than him. While Manuel Neuer was the best goalkeeper in the Bundesliga and Germany, and like, to me, the best goalkeeper in the world. You can say All Black and Alisson could maybe challenge him, but overall, especially what he did in semi-final and final, it just shows you, like, when you have a goalkeeper of that type of presence, they can literally win you a game. I never watched the game in 2009 and seen Valdez really win Barcelona game. Tim, was there ever a game that Valdez really came up trumps and won Barca game?
I mean, I'm trying to think back to my 9-year-old, 10-year-old self, who I can remember week to week games. But I remember some good saves from Valdez. But honestly speaking, what makes Neuer stand out in situation was that it's not just like a big save in like match day 21 against seventh in the league or something near its home, like that kind of thing. It was like big occasion, and keepers get nervous too, by the way. Like big occasion
Yeah,
in
just
front of
ask
the whole
Allison
world
that.
watching. Allison, whole world watching, knockout tie against the world's elite players, and he's making massive saves that decide the whole tie. I can't really remember Valdez making a save like that, unless you go back to 2006 or something like that, but not that season, not a trouble winning season.
My only thing is it's just a stronger league. Valdez is facing far superior talents. I mean, if we look at the top 5 attacking players that Manuel Neuer faced last year, say in the Bundesliga, compared to the top 5 that Victor Valdez would have faced in 2009, is absolutely no contest. With the extra games, all that kind of stuff, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, Neuer, it's not like we're falling off a cliff here, in my opinion. Neuer is fantastic, but I would probably still stick with Valdez. But 3-1, that's okay.
So Manuel Neuer getting, and guys, I'm not gonna lie, the reason why the tone's a bit low, because we literally started and we're halfway through, we're around the midfield, and then we had to stop. And then I realized that I wasn't recording. So everyone, we got to redo this whole thing again. So everyone's a bit tired. It was a lot of emotions went into the first one. But let's move on to the right back position. And we have Joshua Kimmich versus Dani Alves. Now, I know people say Joshua Kimmich also played in midfield, but in the final, he played as right back. The majority of the season, he was mainly right back, and he's known as a right back. And so we got 2009 Alves versus Joshua Kimmich in 2020. Timmy, who do you have for this one?
Yeah, so also looking back on what we said earlier, but for you guys seeing it now, I push for Dani Alves because his first season at Barcelona, me stating that it was one of his best at Barcelona, and seeing his energy, a goal threat from the fence, not just how he was to Barcelona, but how he's a threat to opposition as well. I actually remember thinking back now about, I think it was a coach's voice, them going back on Chelsea's preparation against Barcelona, and noticing how much of a threat Dani Alves was on the right-hand side. And to incorporate a fullback as such a key part of match preparation against the team at Barcelona with Messi and Eto'o and Iniesta on the pitch or whatever, it almost spoke about how good he was as a footballer and as a brand new signing to that team as well. Not only from that, if he's not near the goal at the byline, being skillful against the opposition fullback, he's a threat from distance from goal too as well. Scored a number of goals from long range. So, and Kimmich is a fantastic footballer as well. So I think he's an excellent player. But yeah, I think Dani Alves for me is just the stronger right back that season.
Anyone want to argue against Dani Alves getting in there? I feel like the one thing is that this is probably one of the hardest positions to decide, if not the hardest, because when you look at it, you talk about strength, you talk about strong fullbacks. These two possibly the best in the world at that time. But Dani Alves, I gotta agree with you. He was absolutely brilliant.
One thing that I've just remembered, like coming off the video that we recorded before, I think I can go as far to go on record and say that Dani Alves kind of revolutionized what it was to be a fullback. If you look at what Dani Alves did back then and looking at what fullbacks were back then compared to what fullbacks are now, I think Dani Alves was the start of that. Your fullback basically also playing as a winger, also playing as a left wing back or right wing back. He was the beginning of that transition from more defensive fullbacks to fullbacks bombing forward and helping out in attack. So I think Dani Alves walked so that Kimmich and the rest of these generation of fullbacks could do what they're doing now. I go as record to say that.
Dani Alves, we have there. Let's move in and let's talk about both center backs now. And again, we already had this argument. The one player that I wanted to definitely get in here was David Alaba. Again, the two fullbacks that we're looking at is David Alaba and the Jerome Boateng for Bayern Munich. In Barcelona, you have Puyol and Piqué. As I said, the one I want to have, to me, he was absolutely brilliant that year, was David Alaba. He transitioned from being a left back he plays centre mid at times, to now being a centre back, which was a sweeper, and his ability 1v1 to bring the ball out. I feel with this style especially, he was probably the best at like what he was and like what you were told to do in that type of position with the style of play, playing the high line, playing taking on defenders 1v1, and also bringing the ball out. Ball wise, he's probably the best out of the four. But anyone want to add a bit to that?
Yeah, to be honest, actually, I think if you think about Alaba's profile, I think he sums up pretty much perfectly. If you could build a centre back to do that role, you probably build David Alaba.
Yeah, I mean, what is he? 6'1"? Like, it's not ridiculously big, like a Per Mertesacker type, where like you just can't run because you're so big. Like, still very athletic, can cover multiple positions, good with the ball, captain experience for his country as well. And yeah, for Bayern was unbelievable. One other centre back candidate for me would be Carlos Puyol. I do like PK and I do like what he brings, consistent. You never get worse than a 7 out of 10 from Gerard PK. Well, maybe occasionally there's probably one or two examples, but he's very, very consistent usually. But Carlos Puyol makes that last ditch tackle, makes that block, puts his body on the line. And to me, especially in that 2009 season, Puyol was the real dominant force in that Barcelona back line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
straightforward.
He was.
we move on to the next one.
It's just as straightforward as it is. Puyol or Alaba. Puyol and Alaba. Right centre back, left centre back. It's not much debate there.
So you guys happy with that? We got Puyol and David Alaba as our two centre backs. We're gonna move on to the left back position, and we have Eric Abidal versus Alfonso Davies. Jack, who do you got for this?
Alfonso Davies for me. I think Abidal's kind of the safer pick. Going to offer a bit more composure, maybe a better taught and coached player over the course of his career to that point. I know Alfonso Davies is a bit raw and all this kind of stuff, but I think with that rawness, you've got this just freak, physical ability. He's so fast, very keen to please. Happy to take a man on, and like Jed said with Dani Alves, Dani Alves has existed so that people like Alfonso Davies can really get at people and go. So for me, you want a difference maker. The difference maker is not Eric Abidal. The difference maker is Alfonso Davies.
Yeah, he's you sit back and watch him as a footballer. He's not standing left back, and in terms of because modern wingers love to be quick and skillful, and he's powerful and insanely fast. And not just a threat, like, for example, if a ball goes in behind, his recovery is amazing. But the fact is that going forward, and of course, he rips him out in the quarterfinals. Going forward, he's equally as good as going backwards in terms of being how strong and powerful he is.
I think bouncing off what Jack said, he's how old is he? 19, 20?
Yeah, around
he's 20 now.
More untapped potential. I think that we have a generational talent. I know that word is thrown around every day now, but I genuinely think this is a generational talent we have on our hands. I think going in 10, 20 years from now, he would have fully developed into one of the best players in the world. He will make a difference. Abidal, safe, cool. No, he won't do too much wrong, but Alfonso Davies in your team makes a massive difference.
I feel like,
and James, one quick. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like when you look at Eric Abidal, he is great and all that, but I never really. When I look back at that season, I never thought of Abidal doing something to help Barca really win a game offensively. While when I look at especially like Bayern's Champions League campaign and looking throughout the whole season, like you look at the Chelsea game, he helped create the second goal for Lewandowski, which was absolutely brilliant. The semi-final, I mean the quarterfinal against Barcelona, where he had everyone on toast. Like when you look at the way Bayern set up, Alfonso Davies was a focal point of like their attack coming from left back, and you can't really say that with like Eric Abidal. Eric Abidal will never hit you in the face when it comes to his overall ability. He's as Jed said, he's a very conservative fullback, and even even when you look at it, especially in 2009, he wasn't even the top 5 of the best fullbacks in in the world at that time. You probably had Ashley Cole, you had Patrice Evra.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else did you have there?
Around the time we had so many players that.
Gail Clichy, you know. Now
But
that
then-
Clichy was cold back then.
Clichy was up there.
Hey, like the North American, these kids are taking over. You know, Weston McKinney's playing at Juve now. Roma just signed Brian Reynolds from FC Dallas, who's a fullback, and it's players like Alfonso Davies, which why I've got such high hopes for these, you know, North American guys coming over from the States and showing what they're
Just
capable of.
really, really athletic, pure athlete.
Yeah.
Really athletic. Yeah.
Animals just being put in the position, and they're coached well as well. So they're not
Mhm.
coming with any like, oh, I can already play football. After they're learning what they have to do, they fit within the system that they play.
Gio Reyna, Pulisic, like, you know, they're sprouting up all over the place.
And to think that Barcelona actually turned Alfonso Davis down. Oh, what could have been?
Imagine.
We could have been talking about a Barcelona team here, Barcelona 2020 against. But let's move on. We got Alfonso Davis at left back, and let's talk about the sitting midfielder role, because this is a weird one. Because you look at Barcelona, a lot of people would think it was Sergio Busquets, but technically, when you look at that season, especially we're basing it on Barcelona's most impressive performance that that season, and that was a 6-2 game against Real Madrid. Yaya Toure featured more than Sergio Busquets in the defensive role. So it's going to be Yaya Toure against Thiago Alcantara. So who do you have for this one?
So going back on the first video, I mentioned Thiago, and then these guys mentioned a point about Yaya Toure and the physicality, and thinking about obviously who we know would fit in the two roles in front of him. I think me putting Thiago would actually bring an imbalance to the team. With those three type of midfielders, bringing in Yaya Toure, you at least have the physical side of it. You have the strength and the power going forward and coming back, and then you have the two midfielders who, you know, we obviously know.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jed already knows who those other two are, and so do the rest.
Well, let's kind of wait for it. But everyone is gonna go for it. Toure. But the one thing I'm gonna say about Thiago Alcantara, and yes, he was voted in the FIFA World Team of the Year, but he missed a lot of that season. He was in and out of the team, and only got back into the team around like towards latter end. And like, to be fair, that's why you had Joshua Kimmich, who played a lot in that sitting role. So I'm happy to put Yaya Toure there. And Jed also said it, the balance of the team will look right with Yaya Toure in there. So it's not just only a fantasy thing. We want to, like, we're all coaches here. We want to have the best team possible.
Win games here, man.
We're going to try and win. So let's move on to another one of the attacking midfielder positions. And we got a battle. Leon Goretzka versus Xavi, and we kind of said it because this is where we kind of stopped in, was like it's not really a contest when you actually look at it, because the one thing I was I was gonna say here, that in my opinion, from 2008 to 2011, that was to me Xavi's peak, and especially 2009, he was perhaps the best midfielder. Now you say he was the best midfielder in the world around that time. And probably, Timmy, would you say that was Xavi's best year?
2000. And you know what? It's funny because I think in the final he was man of the match.
Yeah, he was.
I think he was in the final 2000 match. He had, and I remember that game, it was also Messi's assist as well. He had a great game for Barcelona, controlling their play, and also having a free kick hitting off the post as well. Could have been 3-0 actually. He had that. I think that time in that season he scored 10 goals from the field, and he doesn't often score many goals too. So, in terms of his personal achievement that season, I think he had a great year. It's hard to pick his best one though.
Timmy, correct me where I'm wrong. Doesn't Xavi have more goals to his name? I mean, I know this is just off one season, but doesn't Xavi have more goals to his name than Iniesta for Barcelona? Right?
I'm trying to remember now. What Xavi's played 767 games. So in terms of goals per game, it's hard to, I don't know, actually.
Have you scored about like 60 or 50?
Yeah, you must have had like, they don't have many assists and goals. It's not a lot. I think they're both under 100 or so. No, Xavi's got more 100 goals, I think, actually, yeah.
Wait, can anyone give a reason for Leon Goretzka getting over Xavi? Because anyone...
I mean, like we said before, he's wedge. He's a strong guy, and
maybe Goretzka off the bench when you want to play.
When you
Completely different game plan. You want to
exactly.
someone powerful, put Goretzka off the bench.
Do you know what? A lot of these positions, like we argued about. This one to me is probably the most straightforward one out of there. Goretzka had a great season, to be fair, but Xavi, in my opinion, in them like 3-4 years, he was absolutely brilliant in that, and like that year especially. I think the season after was Xavi in the top 5 in the Ballon d'Or voting that
Top
year?
Top three. So it's Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta, no?
No. That was the year after. No, yeah, that was the year
2009.
after for the World Cup, 2009.
Messi,
Ronaldo.
was it Torres?
No, Torres was the year before. I'm pretty sure it was Xavi that was voted in the top 3. I'm pretty sure about that.
Like,
Well,
don't get me wrong, quick, just to kind of defend Goretzka a little bit. You need people like Leon Goretzka over the course of a season. Like, no weaknesses to his game. Like I said, what he's done to his body over the off-season to get himself ready. Like, the guy's going to be very, very good for a very long time. But Xavi, different class.
So we got Xavi in there, and next to him we got a battle. We got Thomas Muller versus Iniesta, and we're basing it on that season. Now,
can I just ask, because Thomas Muller played more games as like a kind of a second striker than he did as like an attacking midfielder. So are we happy with him in like this kind of spot? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a weird one because we can because I don't know.
Because to be fair, we can do is put Xavi next to Yaya Toure and ask him to be a bit more advanced, and then ask Thomas Muller, because Thomas Muller played a lot in between the lines that year. You know,
a little bit of a spoiler just for me, and I'm happy to be like, over shouted here. I would have Thomas Muller either playing as like that second striker or playing off the right, personally.
I know that Iniesta that year was riddled with injuries.
Injuries that year.
Because dude, if you've got Dani Alves in your team at right back, do you really want some crazy attacking right winger, or do you want somebody to occupy those kind of central spaces?
Yeah, but Jack, we also have a front 3 to add in. So unfortunately, he that's the only position that we can put it in. And if I'm being honest, if we're picking, wasn't this the year that like Thomas Muller got like 20 assists? Did he not break the record?
He had 21 assists that season.
21 assists. Like, I love Iniesta, and to be fair, like this year and then like 2010 was kind of the toughest time in his career because he was dealing with a lot of injuries and emotional stuff. So he wasn't the man that we would think he is there. Personally, I'll be happy to put Thomas Muller.
I think it's fair.
In the number 10 role.
Had a good year when he played, but Thomas Muller probably the season of his life. That wasn't a World Cups year. So
all I'm gonna say here is this is turning into a Yaya Toure 11. Like we not. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but Jack, do you not think the balance is? I think the balance is right because Thomas Muller plays in between the lines.
I want Iniesta. I would have Iniesta and Xavi. I'd have Iniesta where that 9 is, and I'd have Muller at 10.
Depending on who the front 3 are, though. If Muller is playing there, there's a lack of balance, though.
Remember, we're going on also who had the best year in technically.
I know, but something doesn't sit right with me putting Thomas Muller there over Iniesta. I know we're going on the metrics of the year, but there's something that's not sitting well.
I want Muller.
I'm having Muller.
Me too.
Okay.
Timmy, Muller? Are you happy with Muller?
Yeah, I have to. Like, you had an amazing year, to be honest.
I'd play him off the right, but
I know this one is a bit controversial. How can you not put Iniesta? Iniesta didn't have that great of a year. Okay, let's move on to the right hand side. We have Messi versus who do you have? Serge Gnabry. Messi versus Serge Gnabry here. And to be fair, Serge Gnabry had an amazing season, like an absolute amazing season. We all remember the 4 goals against Tottenham. He scored the first goal in the semi-final, right? I think no. To be fair, he scored 2 in the semi-final and was very effective. But if you're all being honest here, if anyone can really find a reason not to put Messi in this team, especially this was to me the breakout year for Messi. This was when Messi became the best player in the world, became the man. They handed him the mantle. I don't think anyone can disagree. Anyone?
No objections.
Nope.
No. Put Lionel Messi in. The guys, come on, that's not really much of an argument. Let's move over to central spot right now. We got Robert Lewandowski against Samuel Eto'o.
Lewandowski.
This one actually hurts me right now.
No disrespect on Neto though, because he had a great season this year.
Yeah, I feel inclined to say like Lewandowski, but I don't want Ed to be disrespected, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The one thing I'm going to say about goals now, because people are going to look at the goals, and Lewandowski did get 50 goals, but goals nowadays are just so like ostracized.
Yeah,
like players just score like ridiculously compared to like back then. Samuel Eto'o getting 37 goals that season to me is the equivalent of.
I think he scored 36 in all competitions as well. Actually,
let me actually just make sure.
I think it was 36 in 50 games or so, around that.
Yeah.
Not competitions. And he didn't just play as a striker as well. He went out to the right wings when Messi went to the first time in some games. And like obviously Lewandowski is like clinical finisher, but with him, it's almost like the goal's on a silver platform just to bury in the back of the net.
Yeah,
credit to him too, but like he gets how many chances to score a goal, like bang, 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 5 goals a game or something like that.
Eto'o scored 36 goals that season. And the one thing I'm going to make an argument for Samuel Eto'o personally, the one argument that I'm going to create for him is that he scored important goals. I can't think of that many important goals Robert Lewandowski scored for Bayern, like Bayern Munich. He didn't score in the final. He didn't score in the semi-final. In the 8-2 game against Barcelona, he scored like the 7th or 8th goal in that game. So
But as goal threats go, James, in that Bayern Munich team, it's Lewandowski, really. If you think about it, I mean, how many goals Müller scored?
But Eto'o also scored in the final, and he scored a lot of important goals that year.
But there's goals across
in the world.
Sorry, go ahead.
He's the best player in the world for 2020. Like arguably, and according to FIFA, I know what Eto'o did was amazing. He scored in the final. He was a vital part of the treble-winning team that year. But I don't think we can understate Lewandowski being the best player in the world in 2020. Regardless of whether the goals are put in platter for him or not, he's a striker. You put in front of him.
And he scores goals. Like James, take Lewandowski at that Bayern team, right? And like I don't what's the difference. Whereas Eto'o out of the Barca team, not as big of a deal, I would say.
Okay. Okay. I can agree with you. He did like FIFA Player of the Year. Yeah, let's go for Lewandowski. I'm sorry for Eto'o here. Overall, I would probably pick Eto'o.
I think the point Jack made was right. If Lewandowski's not on the team, Bayern aren't winning the treble or that many.
50 plus goals. I get that. And let's move on to the left-hand side. And we have Thierry Henry, my guy, against Kingsley Coman. Who gets the final place in this team? Guys, personally, if I'm going in, Thierry Henry, 26 goals. That's the most he scored for that's the best season for Barcelona. Overshadowed by Messi and Eto'o, if I'm being honest. I don't think Barcelona ever got to see the real Thierry Henry. But Kingsley Coman, I know he did score in the final, but did he have that big of an impact?
I was going to say, his season wasn't actually that impactful. I would have thought maybe Ivan Perisic, because he's a loan deal or something, would have had more of a stamp.
Even Perisic was really in and out of the team.
Yeah, he was. Because they had Coutinho, Perisic,
and can I make a suggestion here? I just want to put this out there. I want Iniesta in this team. I want to move Müller up to the front three somewhere, and I want to kind of move Lewandowski or Messi around. That to me is the best team combined. That's what I would say.
Kingsley Coman got 8 goals that season. Jack, I'm sorry. We're not moving Thierry Henry. We're not moving Thierry Henry. I don't care. Listen, we're not doing no sentimental thing here. It's what they produced that year. Iniesta was not that great that year. It's just the way it is. Anyone want to go against Thierry Henry?
I think that's it, really.
Yeah,
it wasn't really Henry's best. What we've seen Henry at Arsenal, it was his best season at Barcelona.
And to be fair to Henry, actually, in terms of the big games they played, the Champions League,
always,
he was there.
Missed shot game, but in some of the big games that season, he did actually perform.
The classic,
And he scored
The
one.
classic goal, 2 goals. He got them back into the game.
Yeah.
the game, yeah. So,
I'm happy to put Thierry there. Sorry, you take that, Jack. What's that, Iniesta? But
Saying.
Jed, that was good. I thought you were going to I was like, what? But okay, before we end this, we have to pick a manager. We have 2 managers who technically was their first season in charge. Guardiola, that was his first season in charge of Barcelona. And who's the Bayern Munich coach again?
Hansi Flick.
Hansi Flick, that was his first season. And like he came in halfway through. Hansi Flick technically had a 94% win rate that season, which was credible. But we have to pick a manager to manage this team. Who do we have? Flick, Guardiola?
I have
Hansi Flick was not the manager for the whole year. I don't know how, like, if we forget that Pep is the other manager, let's just say it's anybody. Hansi Flick wasn't the manager for the whole year. So for me, it's going to be very, like, hard on whoever it is, let alone Pep Guardiola. So for me, Pep, not even close.
I think Bayern would have recovered and won the league anyway.
Right, yes.
Right. That's a good point, actually.
Pep changed the game with Barcelona and with world football. What Pep did for Barcelona, we're seeing that today, like 10, 15 years down the line. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, you got to think about the left as well. Ronaldinho and Deco leaving in.
Yeah.
Taking a shifting dead away.
This is the easiest one. This is the easiest one.
To me, the Dani Alves acquisition, to me, was spot on. One of the best buys Barcelona have done in the last.
Fact, even Seydou Keita as well, actually.
Yeah, Seydou Keita was a big part of that team. But the one thing I'm going to say about Hansi Flick is that he came into a Bayern team who recently lost 5-1 to Mainz or something like that. They weren't the same team. Players were in disarray. And yes, they probably would have went on to win the league, but he turned his team into not only just winning the league, but being the most dominant side in Europe. So you have to kind of give him credit there. If I'm being honest, if he didn't become the manager, Bayern wouldn't have won the treble.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
That's true.
If you look at Pep Guardiola, if he doesn't come in,
you take Pep out of Barcelona, you're changing a literal generation of football.
Bear in mind, they were fourth the season before that, and all these changes in players here are because of what he did.
Yeah.
And all the legends that came out of that Pep Guardiola era might not be the players we see them as now, you know?
Would Spain go on and win the World Cup and the Euros like they did without Barcelona Real Madrid call? Probably not.
They won the Euros in 2008, the year before.
100%.
Yeah, but the World Cup is different gravy. Like,
or would they have dominated the way they did? I don't think so.
And a large part of that was because of how Pep was doing at Barcelona.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, Pep's style of play changed the game. I don't think this is when I'm trying to create an argument for Hansi Flick. Yeah, he came in, but he came into a really talented Bayern side. If you get them together, it can work. Like Pep, he's a game changer. The greatest manager of this.
He did his thing though as well. Like he
did his thing. But Guardiola is you can say the greatest manager of our generation, especially in the last decade. So we got Guardiola as the manager, and looking at the team. We got Barcelona winning 6-5. So it's not like a landslide where another team just like automatically gets in. It's a quite balanced team, you know? Yeah, you have a lot of Bayern players in there, but Barcelona taking the cake with 6 players in there. Anyone that you want to take out, players that you like, is everyone happy with this team?
Jack's got, I think, with Muller and Iniesta.
Dude, I want Henry out of that team. I want Muller moved up, Iniesta in midfield. I can't have Xavi not play with Iniesta. Come on. That's
true.
Listen,
Jack, I wouldn't take Henry out. I'd just take Muller out all the same.
We're not moving Thierry Henry. It's the fact of the matter is that you need to go back into 2009 and actually Iniesta to produce the way he produced for the rest of his career. That's just
at this point, I'm just winding you up, mate.
But again, guys, this is the team. And to be fair, I'm quite happy with this team. I think this team will definitely go on not only to win the league that they were ever playing in, but the Champions League for maybe 2 to 3 years easily. Could you imagine? Like this team.
Those teams already done it.
What?
That's why those teams already gone 3 in a row.
Yeah, listen, I'm telling you, don't lie. Listen, the Madrid team will get smoked by this team.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
But Guys,
You
thank
saw
you.
Ronaldo. I don't know.
Listen, Ronaldo ain't jumping over these. Ronaldo's killing out of these guys in the air. But guys, tell me what you think about this team right now. Should Messi be in there? Lewandowski? Should we take Muller out for Iniesta? Guys, comments down below. Let us know what you think about this video. Thank you for watching. This is Box to Box Football, and we will see you next time.